Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Dr. Dare Show live. It's Dr. Dare. And it is Friday. We made it. We made it. And what a long week it was. But welcome, welcome, welcome. When you come in, please say hello, click like, and share this video. And today we will be talking about the Titanic, the submarine that went missing, and it started on Sunday, June 18th, and five people unfortunately lost their lives during this excursion. And so we will be asking the question, why does it seem as though people have zero sympathy for the people that were on this sub? And a lot of the memes and the jokes and all of that stuff, I have to put this out here, were done before everybody knew that these people lost their lives. So I just wanted to put that in there. And I want to say rest in peace. And my sympathy goes to the families of those people. And we will get started on talking about that topic. But first of all, I want you to um, check in and let me know that you're here and that you can hear me. And we will get started. We have a two-part question. Excuse me. We have a two-part question. And the first one is, why does it seem as though people have zero sympathy for people on the Titan submarine? And then the second question of that is, um, what do we feel like is the cause of a lot of relationship breakups today? I think is the set. I rephrased that, but yeah, so those are our two questions for today. But right now, just come in, like the video, share it, and check in. So, welcome, 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 welcome. Hey, Karen. Karen says, "Good evening, Doc. Your audio is perfect. Good. Thank you, Karen. Thank you for that check in." Yes. So we will start at like we start at 8:40 p.m. Everybody's been talking about this submarine going missing. We will talk about the timeline. I will show a video of some of the discussions that have been going on about this submarine. It's so sad. And again, I want to, because more people are on now. All these jokes and things I think happened before these people were actually declared deceased, but it just seems like nobody had that sympathy for them. But that could be the perception that I see, but it could not be that. So we will start talking about that momentarily. Um, hey Michelle, hey Michelle, hey Michelle. Karen, yes, I had a good week. How was your week? I did. Welcome everybody. See, everybody's on today. How's the week? Everybody happy that it's Friday and that we made it. And don't forget to share this video. Don't forget to share this video. So if you just joined, we are discussing the Titanic tourist submarine that went missing. Hey, Tanisha. Hey, Tanil. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to be talking about the Titanic submarine that went missing. The journey started on Sunday, June 18th. Um, and of course, now we know that the five victims that were on this sub are deceased now. And the second question that we're asking on today's show is about relationships. What do we think is the cause of so many relationship breakups or relationship issues today? So we had a two-part question here on the show, and we will start at 8:40. Um, yes. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Seems like we got a little full house here. I'm glad everybody made it. Um, oh, Yes, so that is what we will be talking to. I do have a little video clip of some of the things that I saw out on social media about um, the Titan submarine. I keep wanting to say the Titanic, but I'm sharing the video on here. And so, yeah, share, 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 and we will get started momentarily. How was you guys this week? So the people that were on the ship, um, who was on board, was the British billionaire adventurer Hamish Harding. He has been as identified as one of the victims on the post. Okay, and then Paul Henry Nargalet, who was also on board, was a submersible pilot who was used for the commander. So this Paul Henry guy was the pilot. Then there was British Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman Dawood, and I know there's one more person, Stockton, and I don't see. I think his name is Stockton. Yeah, let's see what it's over. Tanisha, you said glad that it's over. The week is over. Yes. Karen, you said I had a great week. Quiet. I got a lot done on my to-do list. That's good. Doesn't that make you feel good when you get things done on your to-do list? But the most important thing is it's Friday, 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 Friday. So let's put some of you guys are saying hello. We'll put that on there. Okay. So we will be starting at 8:40. So I wanted y'all to see this little clip of a video about and Michelle said she had a good week until someone rear-ended me. Yeah, Michelle, I'm glad you're okay. Do you feel sore? I know we talked earlier, but I was wondering how you feel now since it's a few hours after that incident. Sorry that happened to you today on a Friday of all days, right? But glad you're okay and glad you didn't get too much damage on your accident. Okay, so let's show this little video. Karen says loves to check off items. So let's see this little video that I found here. Let me go to it. Y'all don't laugh. Well, not that one. That's the next one. Okay, close that one. Sorry, guys, my computer is going really. There we go.
Now we down here. We see the Titanic, baby. What the fuck we supposed to do now? What the fuck we supposed to do now? Pass my purse. Pass me my damn purse. Y'all done pissed me off, baby. Y'all, anybody want a shot? Yeah, don't look at me crazy. Don't look at me crazy, baby. Shit, might as well take a shot, calm everybody's nerves down. We got a few hours of oxygen left. This motherfucker sitting here with a goddamn game controller. I paid y'all 250K for this shit. I should have paid me 250K if I knew we weren't gonna go back up. We got a few hours of oxygen left. Hey, young blood, you got a backwood. I don't think this shot gonna calm my nerves down. Hell no, heart beating fast as a bitch.
So, did y'all see that video? Was everybody able to hear it? So, these are some of the things that I was seeing on social media. Again, that video I think was made before they announced that the people were deceased. So, what do y'all think of the story? So, let me give you a little timeline of the story. So, the Titanic sub They took a journey off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. They were trying to go see the wreckage of the Titanic, which is at the bottom of the seafloor, which what I'm hearing is like 2 miles down below, which is, oh my gosh, I would never even have thought to do that. So they were on a 21-foot. Yeah, Karen, that video was a lot. So they were on a 21-foot sealed craft. It was a, some man described it as it was a tube versus a spear. And he said he would have never got on it because it was a tube. He would rather have got on the spear. So I don't know the difference. I would have never got on that ship, I mean, on this sub anyway, because I have claustrophobia. So that by the time we would have got down there, I probably would have been. See, so it's a 21-foot sealed craft. So on Sunday, June 18th at 8 a.m., they decided to take this excursion down, and they only had 96 hours of oxygen supply. But within 1 hour and 45 minutes, the Ocean Gates operator lost contact um, with them. So they, like, an hour and 45 minutes, they had lost contact. So each day that went by, Monday, Tuesday, there was no contact with them. There was people were saying that they heard this explosion happen, but nobody was for sure that it was that. And then I forgot what day they declared all of those people that I listed earlier in the video um, gone. So I want y'all to listen to this next video real quick. Oh, let's go. Okay. So listen to this next video. I'm pulling it up. And listen to what this guy has to say.
Them hoes good as dead. Okay, they good as dead. Them hoes good as dead. Okay, they good as dead. And I'm finna tell you something, and it's finna sound so insensitive. I am honestly of the belief
Can y'all hear
that
the?
if
Can
they
y'all hear
are
it?
unable to assemble a rescue team before they run out of air, that they should not spend government or public dollars to do so, because we know that they are 2 miles underwater and that we are going to be on a recovery mission. And to go down there, first of all, you're supposed to take all your risk on the ground, like I do. Certain places are not meant for us to visit. And this is what happens when rich people get bored.
And you know what's so interesting, Claudia? You know, every passenger on that submarine paid $250,000 to
To
take this
die.
excursion, like basically to die. But listen, a former Marine director of this particular voyage, the pilot, he said, listen, and got fired for saying, he said, it's unsafe. He said that craft, that submarine is unsafe. And he's been saying it for a number of years, and they fired him.
They showed this thing before they went on it, and they were laughing at how they had some makeshift thing. Oh, this thing is controlled by a game controller.
No,
And they said, oh, but the outside of it is strong. I'm like, you've got to fucking be kidding me. They
no.
went down to see the Titanic wreckage, and now they became the Titanic
And
wreckage.
here's the thing, we got a whole damn movie that won damn Oscars. We got plenty of documentaries on YouTube. They have sent, I would be in favor of them sending a robot down there, but y'all got y'all ass down there to go see what? A bunch of damn corroded metal?
Yeah.
Look at that.
That does happen. I mean, they had too much money. I mean, not to
Yeah,
sound,
they were bored.
and not.
Wow. So what do y'all think about that? Would y'all go? I know Tanisha said that um, I would never go. So why do y'all think people are insensitive? Y'all heard some of the comments on that video. Um, I always think, and this is just my personal opinion, that rich people, they have so much money that they're bored. Like they were kind of saying in that video that they were bored, so they decide to do things like this. And Michelle's like, no, I wouldn't go. Why do you think people are insensitive? Why do y'all think people are insensitive to this situation? Not that the people died, they're not insensitive. Nobody wished or was making fun that the people died, but it was like kind of like what the lady said, and what I've been hearing on the news is like they used material that wasn't approved to build this thing. Like I think this ship had went down before, but not this one. Another one similar to this one that had different materials that were tested and all of that stuff. But this new ship, I think the Titanic sub, was made of this new material that evidently did not last or was not stable enough to last. What do y'all think? Mm, 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 mm. Let's see what y'all saying. Uh, Tanisha said common sense. That's why she wouldn't go. Michelle says, yes, I heard that it was not up to code and had a crack in it. Yeah, that's what I heard too, Michelle. I heard that um, it was made out of some new material. They claim they tested it, and but evidently that's not. I would have never. I have claustrophobia, so I know I would never get into something that's going 2 hours down below to the surface floor where very few people have been and in that ship. So Michelle says no, she wouldn't go. Tanisha says common sense. That's why. That's why. Hey, Carson, if someone is controlling anything with a video game joystick, that is a red flag. Of course, right. So, I mean, but they're sitting here laughing. I'm like, were y'all guys preparing to die? Michelle says they're not sensitive because they're just crazy to do it. I think I mean, and I think when you're rich like that, you are bored. You could buy anything you want. You can go anywhere you want. You can do anything you want. And so they want to do something that nobody without money can't do. Like go to another planet and go to Mars or something like this or this. It's just scary. I feel like water in itself for me is always scary anyway. Oh, did my computer freeze? There we go. Okay. So Karen says, as you said, these comments were before the discovery of the implosion and explosion. It's a rich man's voyage. Yep. Rich or not, I could not have taken that trip. It's too risky. I agree, Karen. But I think they were saying that there was an older ship that many people have done this excursion before. Um, so that's why I guess they felt like, hey, and I get it. You feel like, hey, all these scientists have tested this thing. We've put all this work into it. It has to be safe. But that again lets us know who isn't in who's not in control of everything on this earth, and that's men. Men are not control of anything. I often looked at this too when I was thinking about this story is we actually get in airplanes which are kind of like a tubular thing that floats up in the air. It's scary alone. So now they're trying to go the opposite way. It's kind of scary. Okay. So let's see. I don't want to miss any comments. Carson says, I'm putting common sense on my church's sick and shut in list. Sick and shut in list. Let me post that up there. Tanisha says, well, da, 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 da. Tanisha says, well, they made their own history, which was the dumbest decision ever. And you got a point, Tanisha. Just like that video we just listened to, they were saying now they went to see the Titanic and this big ship, and now they became a part of the what do you call it? The exhibit, if you would. Like now they're a part of the Titanic's exhibit, you know. And I enjoy looking at that stuff. I have to admit, I was looking at like the wreckage of the Titanic via YouTube, just kind of what the guy was saying on the video. We have a lot of research out there. There's a lot of research of saying, you know, going that deep into the ocean floor is stuff is going to happen. Like there's so much pressure down there. So they exploded. I'm gonna recap the timeline here. On Sunday, June 18th, five people got into this vessel, the 21-foot sealed vessel, at 8 a.m. Eastern time on the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. And they only had 96 hours of oxygen supply. And then an hour and 45 minutes into this journey, contact was lost. So this ship that they probably didn't, it needed some more testing on the materials that they used, because that's what they said was the problem. What's up, Mike? Mike says, um, I wouldn't go, but that's their money to do what they want. I wouldn't swim with the sharks or dolphins or scuba dive, but no one would make any comments like those if they did any of those activities mentioned previously. And I agree with that, Mike. That's why I kind of compared it to us flying in airplanes. It's kind of the same thing, right? You're just in the air versus in the ocean. And we get on the plane, even though from a academic background, there's been so much research and all of that stuff into planes and how they fly and how they stay up in the air and all that, blah 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 blah. It's just not enough. It was not enough research to do this. So I agree, Mike, that on the flip side of this, we all kind of take risk on different things, but I wouldn't go. And is that a reason, Mike, that you think people don't have sympathy for, not that these people died, but just when they were lost, it seemed like a lot of videos. I showed one earlier. I may pull it back up for the people who just got on. Karen says the same. I guess it was bragging rights. One of the passengers was one of the people who went up to space. Oh, in Jeff Bezos' spaceship, he was the adventurer. So it's like Mike was saying, and like some of y'all are saying, is that, hey, you got the money, you go do it. It's just not. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't get on the ship. I. Mm-mm. Tanisha says Mother Nature wins every time, and you make a good point, because on the video that I showed earlier, he was like, some places we just not supposed to be, and I think the ocean floor is just not where we're supposed to be. We can't survive. Nothing can survive going down there, but what's supposed to be down there. But again, to each his own. They spent the money, but unfortunately, they lost their lives. Um, okay, Michelle says, so I guess they went down with the Titanic. I feel for them. Yeah, like I said, they are part of the exhibit now. They are part of the Titanic, the thing that they went to see. And again, I guess they had faith in all this research and science that had been done, so they felt comfortable with that. Okay, Tanil says, I think most people heard about this story and we could not relate. That is a good point. These were billionaires who made this trip in an unsafe vessel to see a sunken ship that we had no connections to. The comedians I saw made content that was funny but not malicious. Right. And I agree. And that's why I said I don't, and I think a lot of the stuff that I know I saw was before these people were pronounced dead. So it was kind of like we didn't know if they were still alive, but it wasn't saying we hated them for doing it. We just, and I'm glad you brought that up, Tennille. We can't relate. They're billionaires. It's like the video said. They were bored. I'm gonna play this one again for the people who just got on, just so you can kind of see what was said. I can pull it back up. Where did it go? Oh, here we go.
So insensitive. I am honestly of the belief that if they are unable to assemble, them hoes good as dead. Okay, they good as dead. And I'm gonna tell you something, and it's gonna sound so insensitive. I am honestly of the belief that if they are unable to assemble a rescue team before they run out of air, that they should not spend government or public dollars to do so, because we know that they are 2 miles underwater and that we are going to be on a recovery mission. And to go down there, first of all, you're supposed to take all your risk on the ground, like I do. Certain places are not meant for us to visit. And this is what happens when rich people get bored.
And you know what's so interesting, Claudia? You know, every passenger on that submarine paid $250,000 to
To
take this
die.
excursion, like basically to die. But listen, a former Marine director of this particular voyage, the pilot, he said, listen, and got fired for saying, he said, it's unsafe. He said that craft, that submarine is unsafe. And he's been saying it for a number of years, and they fired him.
They showed this thing before they went on it, and they were laughing at how they had some makeshift thing. Oh, this thing is controlled by a game controller.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, but the outside of it is strong. I'm like, you've got to fucking be kidding me. They
Yeah.
went down to see the Titanic wreckage, and now they became the Titanic wreckage.
And here's the thing, we got a whole damn movie that won damn Oscars. We got plenty of documentaries on YouTube. They have sent, I would be in favor of them sending a robot down there, but y'all got y'all ass down there to go see what? A bunch of damn corroded metal?
Yeah.
Look at that.
That does happen. I mean, they had too much money. I mean, not to
Yeah,
sound,
they were bored.
and not.
Oh, so what did y'all think about that video? Hold on. Oh, sorry, I got too much stuff up. Hello, hello, hello. There we go. Any more comments? They said nothing wrong. Tanisha, you said they said nothing wrong. Yeah, I kind of agree that, hey, you knew the risk. You paid the $250,000. Um, the captain, I think they said somebody got fired because they were trying to warn them that this thing was not safe. But I'm gonna go with Tennille though. She's saying it wasn't malicious the way people were kind of making fun and doing the memes. It was just we couldn't relate to spending $250,000. That's a house for a lot of us. That's our we could pay off a whole house with that money that they use to die, basically. And it's so sad that they lost their lives, but they chose to do it. So, any more on that? We're gonna go to our next topic. And if you want to bring that back, you want to continue to talk about that topic, we can. But I'm going to go on to the next topic because I'm interested in your opinion of this. Any more updates on that? Plus, okay, we got some comments. Karen says the Titan vessel is one of one, right? No backup vessels. It's the only one, and it has taken many trips prior to this one. I imagine it had cracks, leaks, and etc. Now they are an exhibit. Karen, so there was a question, and I think I need to go research more because, like you said, there were many other trips that were successful, but I don't know if it was that exact ship because it seems like, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like they, excuse me, built this new ship with different material, and that's what they were saying. It wasn't built correctly, or it wasn't, like Michelle said earlier, it wasn't built up to code. And so they think, and the news reporter that I was watching on CNN yesterday was stating that it could be a little crack in something going down in the water like that, and that's it. That's all it takes. And the good thing that they were saying on the news is that These people did not know what hit them. They exploded, basically. Explode. There was an explosion, implosion is what they called it. But these people didn't know that they died. There's no. They were talking about on that video that they wouldn't spend the money to kind of pick up the damages and all of that stuff. There is no bodies there. They, according to what I was watching on CNN, these people exploded. The scientist was saying that there's probably not even any like body tissue. She was like, you might can find some DNA, but the good thing is that they probably didn't suffer. They just probably exploded, which is a horrible, horrible way to die. And what was really sad for me hearing is the 19-year-old boy that died on this sub. He was nervous to take this trip. He was afraid to take this trip. So that part was really sad. Yep. Okay. So Tennille said, plus, hold on. Plus, the media was covering this nonstop, and so that makes for content and likes for comedians and social medias, et cetera, et cetera. And that's right. It's a part of once you put yourself out there, and once it's covered by the news, it's fair game. So no judgment. For me, it's no judgment. But I think some people were getting like, hey, if that was your family, would you want them to be talking about that? Okay, so any more on that? I just thought that was an interesting topic to bring up since it was all over the news. And okay, so number two, what do you think is killing relationships these days? Okay, that was I think Karen just said something. Um, come on, computer. What our next question? Oh, Karen says they signed the waiver. There is probably no human remains. Oh yeah, the news said they exploded. These people died when that thing exploded. They exploded. They probably the news said they probably didn't even know what hit them. Karen says they signed a waiver. There is probably no human remains. I feel bad for the families. The 19-year-old son's aunt said he was frightened and didn't want to go. Yep, I heard that same thing. That he was really afraid. So that's the sad part. But you know, that's all we can say about that. So our next part of the show is what do you think is killing relationships these days? So Michelle says communication, and I agree. I do couples therapy all the time, and the biggest thing, and I've talked about this on the show before, is communication, boundaries, and trust are the three major things that I see in trust issues, boundary issues, communication issues that I see in relationships. But communications, because people think they're communicating effectively, but they're not. I do this exercise called active listening where I ask each partner in the relationship to write down three things that they want more or less of in the relationship. And then they're supposed to read it back to each other and then quote it back to each other of what they think their partner was trying to tell them. um, and most of them can't do it. Most of them struggle to because they either talk too much or not enough, and so their partner doesn't get the message that they're trying to relay. So I agree with you, Michelle, that communication is one. And Karen's talking to Tennille, she's saying great point about the media was covering this nonstop, so that makes it that makes content for the likes for comedians and social media, and I totally agree with that. Um, Tanisha says, for this question, what do you think is killing the relationship these days? Tanisha says lack of communication, trust, and honesty. Right, and I agree. Trust, because if you don't trust anybody, or you lose that trust, or somebody cheats on you, it's really hard to gain that back because you're constantly if you're the one that was cheated on, you're constantly thinking that person is going to do it again. You're hyper focused on their every move, their behaviors, everything that they do in the house. Once they've cheated, it's almost like, I think for some people they can't get over that once they're cheated. So that trust is never, just some people. Some people can move forward and still be with the person and still trust the person. But then there's the middle ground where some people was like, okay, well you cheated on me, I'm gonna get you back and I'm gonna cheat again. So there's that part. And then there's some people that just cannot rest because they think their partner is cheating. And so they end up leaving the relationship. But you're absolutely right, Tanisha. Lack of communication, trust, and honesty. Um, and Karen says fear, trust, poor communication. Yep. Again. So Karen, what do you mean by the fear? Tell me a little bit more what you mean by that, because I get the trust and the communication. Because you know what, it's really hard for people to communicate, and you know where we get our communication styles from? Our childhood, our families. We learn how to communicate based on the way our families communicated when we all lived in the same house. If your family didn't talk, they didn't talk about problems, they didn't discuss anything, they didn't show affection, they didn't do any of those things, guess what? You're going to come out of the house probably being the same way until you get it, until you it clicks in your head that, like, this is not proper communication. I need to speak up when I am angry at my partner, not just hold it in. Or I need to say something when they're doing something to me that I don't like and I feel rejected. I need to speak up. But a lot of people learn these coping mechanisms of how to not communicate from their families versus communicating. Now, there are some families who communicate, who talks about everything. They talk about every issue that the family has. So that's a good thing. But if you get two people with two different backgrounds, which is it basically describes a couple, you'll have communication issues. So I agree. Somebody says social media. Do y'all think social media impacts relationships more these days or less of? What do y'all think about social media? So fear and trust, definitely. Michelle says definitely. Social media does impact. How do you feel like it impacts? I know a lot of people get busted, get caught cheating because, hey, if they're dating somebody and that person, say for instance they're married but they got a side piece, and then that side piece is posting pictures of them, they don't even realize it. Then one of their friends sees that picture on social media, and then that's it. Your secret. Well, back in the day there was no social media, so you could probably get away with that more so. Okay. Okay, so Karen explained her fear. She's saying people can be afraid to say what they mean, afraid to say I love you first, afraid to be lonely. Okay, and I agree. That's back to that communication, because some people don't know how. I see it all the time in couples counseling. They struggle with saying I love you to each other. It's just a really a big struggle. And Mike says social media is toxic to the core. What do you mean, Mike? And I get it. I think I described one example where you can get in so much if you're cheating and somebody, the person you're cheating with, takes a picture of y'all and puts it on social media, and it gets back to your significant other. Yeah, you know, people always putting business on there, and others chime in and makes it worse. Yep, that's a good point. Somebody's having a relationship issue with their partner and they're putting all of that information on social media, and people, what people don't realize, we really get influenced by what other people say, whether we believe them or not. They have planted something in our head when they say things. Say for instance you're talking about your husband or your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend on social media, and you got all your friends chiming in and you're internalizing that stuff, even though right then you may not be thinking, hey, that's my mate. But when you go home and sit there and start thinking about it yourself, it has impacted you in a way that you don't even realize. So I agree. Social media is toxic to the core. what Mike said, and then Michelle says people always putting their business on there, and others chime in, and it makes it worse. And then Tanisha says social media can ruin relationships because of them liking, commenting on other girls and guys' pictures. Yes, especially if you're dating somebody that's really kind of jealous. And I hear that a lot of times where and where somebody liked this girl's picture, and the wife got mad, or the wife liked some man's picture and the husband got mad. So situations like that, and people don't think about this stuff, but social media is it can be toxic if you let it. Some couples that I know, they don't share each other's social media. They're not friends on each other's platforms because they feel like, hey, I don't want to see anything just because somebody likes a picture and you making a big deal out of it. Yeah, I agree. If that is your personality, you get jealous really quickly, or things like that. Maybe not share your mate's profile. But then there's the other aspect of that. Why wouldn't you share it? I don't know. Mike says we put too much of our business out there and chime in. That's true. And you and Michelle kind of saying the same thing, is that people put so much information on social media, and then they get mad when people chime in. But you put your personal stuff out there. You put the arguments you have out there, which I always say is a bad idea, because when people start chiming in, I'm telling you, you internalize that stuff. Or you talking about your sex life, and then one of your friends try to sleep with your partner. Then you put it out there. Keep some of that stuff to yourself. So Tennille says cheating and poor communication are not new. I think what is new is that people are quicker to end relationships now, due to societal changes. Divorce used to be taboo. It's now celebrated. Fiancés and finances and having two incomes also make it easier for spouses to leave. Overall, we are less committed. Oh, and that's sad. Less committed and no longer stay in relationships or jobs when it is no longer serving us. It's a new day. So, Tanil, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Because it sounds like what you're saying is there's more freedom in relationships if you there's something, which I like, if you have boundaries and somebody crosses it and you're not getting what you want out of the relationship, you're not getting what you need out of the relationship, you do have the right to leave now, because you're making your own income, is what you're saying, and they're making their own income, and so you can go. So I'm going to read your statement again. I want everybody else to chime in. Cheating and poor communication are not new. I think what is new is that people are quicker to end relationships now due to societal changes. Divorce used to be taboo. Yep. And I think the church had a lot to do with that, though. Like, you don't get a divorce, or family traditions, you don't get a divorce. Nobody's in the family has ever had a divorce. Don't you ever get a divorce? But I'm kind of glad that has changed, because a lot of people were suffering in silence, being in domestic violence situations, and staying in relationships and marriages, but being tortured, basically being in domestic violence situations. So I'm kind of glad that piece has changed. It's now celebrated. Why do I keep saying fiancés? Finances and having two incomes also make it easier for spouses. Now, I agree with all of that. And Karen says, um, Tennille, you're preaching. And then Karen says, social media is a factor depending on the person and what and how they post about their personal life. Social media can bring out your bad side. Um, Depending on the person, what and how they post about their personal life, social media can bring out your bad side. And that's true. People, you post a picture, you're a married man, you got a wife, or you have a partner, or whatever that looks like, and you post a picture of yourself, and you start getting attention, right? And so then your inquiring mind wants to know, oh, she liked my picture, she thinks this, or he liked my picture, he thinks this. And so you have more opportunities. I feel like with social media, you have more opportunities to cheat, to connect with past lovers, exes, you name it, and that could spark an affair, I think. Sunil says it can be both. We know back in the days women had to stay in an abusive relationship because they had no options financially. They would also be ashamed. And I agree. It could be both. I spelled it wrong. Finances. Oh, is that why I keep That's okay. I think I was typing some notes up today about a fiance, and that's too why I just kept sticking in my head. But I agree. So times have changed, relationships have changed, bound relationships like Tanil was saying, the financial aspects of relationships have changed, and it does more people have more freedom and they don't tolerate a lot of nonsense in these relationships, which I think is a good thing. But then how do we does there need to be some kind of course on how to be in a relationship? Because what I'm finding doing couples counseling is a lot of people just don't know how to be in a relationship. Yeah, we're together, we live together, we're thinking about getting married, we've been dating for this long time, but we don't really know each other, or things like that. And I think people struggle with how to be in a relationship because a lot of us learn from our parents. Again, back to, and I don't want to keep bashing our childhood and our family lives, but you learn how to be in a relationship from your parents, right? You learn what love looks like. You love with what is tolerated, what the woman tolerates in the relationship, what the man tolerates in the relationship in your home, and then you expound. You expect that because I've seen people um, be in a relationship where they're getting abused, but that's what they saw in their home coming up. So they're like, "Hey, this is normal." They normalize it. Um, Tanil says counseling is definitely needed and will help people figure out if they can work it out or if it's time to go. Yep. That's the first thing I tell couples. Like, this may work for you and build your relationship and make it stronger, or y'all may break up after y'all have therapy sessions. I've had a client, had a couple do that. They already wanted to do it, but then therapy just made it happen more. So, yeah. All right. Anything else before we end this? I want to give you your Friday night back. Great discussion. Thank y'all for joining on. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. We have our spiritual clairvoyant uh, Devin coming back. I think it's in July. So he's coming back. So if you want a reading, you didn't get a reading the last time, or you missed the show the last time, he will be back to do readings and kind of give us more information on ourselves. Um, yes. So thank you, Tanil. It was great topics. It was good talking to y'all, and I will see y'all in 2 weeks. Have a good night.